I keep it on.
More options. My background. Is that what you're looking for right there?
Does it translate what we're saying when it's subtitles?
I shut the subtitles off, bro, because it gets to where I can't see your face.
Yeah, okay, I agree. YouTube can automatically transcribe anything.
Recording?
Yeah, it's.
This is.
Oh, hold on.
3 buttons. Push the 3 dots. It'll say start recording, stop recording, or whatever.
Yeah, push the 3 dots. So I did a start recording, but what I'm wondering is if it lets multiple people record.
It should.
Because I hit record. Hold on, maybe up here.
I
No.
don't see why
Okay, look, it doesn't matter if you're not recording. I'm gonna send you this because you guys are so clear right now. When we were both trying to record, it was all blurry.
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna
good.
send
Yeah,
you everything.
let's do that. Yeah, yours worked. So yeah, yours worked when. Yeah, let's do
You
that.
guys are coming in perfect.
Yeah, it'll be just like last time. We'll have his whole. We'll have his because essentially we'll do this. We're doing it the same way we did last time, but I'll fix the audio with the echo.
Oh, okay.
What, you guys have problems with the audio?
Well, no, the audio was good. It's just that I layered them, and so when I was using your audio so that we could get we used our audio from here and your audio, and so it was layered up so we could hear us from yours and from ours, and it wasn't matching perfectly, so it sounded like an echo. Like one of your people, I think, commented on it, but I can fix that in the post edit by
They did comment a bunch of times. Actually, you're right. I'll be right with you.
Yeah. So I can fix that.
She's broken like me, baby.
This would be a good one. He said he has some good stuff. Spiritual shit. That's it. And like you said, like the change of heart stuff, like you brought up last time. Like he was saying, like he said, he's like, dude, like he's like, I'm basically like, stuff that because he's gonna put it on his Patreon. But he's like, I don't even do this stuff for my normal people.
Hey man, I got 2.5 hours last night of Cowboy, bro. We were straight talking about the real shit. You know what I mean? Nazi lowriders, how when it broke out, because he was one of like the first 3 people in Nazi lowriders.
Was he? Dude, I love your Cowboy interviews, bro.
And then he, when they broke off to FTB, he was like, oh, hell no, I'm not with that. You know what I mean? And like, so, yeah. I mean, yeah, because back then it was real shit, man. You fart in a day room and claim it, now you get to get your letters, It's great. So, all right, we'll start off. You do your intro, and then you guys, any questions you want to answer, and then tell me, because I got some stuff. I wrote some stuff down. What? Huh? I brought you the charger here. She's broken like me. Baby, I'm doing some more. All right. Careful when plugging in, all right? Be careful, so pull. All right, there. All right. So, notes.
All right, brother.
Okay, go ahead, do your intro or whatever you do.
All right, guys. So welcome back to the War Podcast. We got Badger with episode 2.
Episode 13.
Episode 13. Hold on. Let me start that over. Hey, welcome back to the War Podcast. To episode 13. This is Badger part 2. We have OG Badger with us again. The first video was excellent. A little bit of background about Badger. I gave some last time, but he has a pretty big online following. Spanning over 50,000 over different platforms, and people like to hear his stories, whether it be from recovery to some hardcore stuff that he had to deal with in prison and things like that. And what is really cool about this is he had agreed to talk to us specifically on this time about like the recovery portion of it, and really really how he got better and things like that. He touched on it last time and got into it, but we got cut short. So we really appreciate it. And just before we get too far, I just want to say, everyone, please like, subscribe so you can get more of these. Maybe we'll have more with Badger if we're lucky enough in the future. But please like and subscribe. It helps the channel, helps other people see it. Anything else you guys want to say, or should we get into it?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you back on.
I've been excited for this episode because the last time I loved your story, and I think this time I was most excited because I wanted to hear about the change of heart that happened. You know, like the recovery process that happened to you. You know, with addiction, it's like all these dudes like that we're helping over here at War. Like, I mean, we're bringing people in, and a lot of them are hard, and a lot of them don't believe in God, and a lot of them can't figure out how to get sober. And then they come in, and we put them through those steps. We're a 12-step program.
Absolutely.
And we watch this massive spiritual transformation take place. And so I'd like to hear about like your spiritual transformation and like what's happened.
All right, beautiful. So obviously I didn't come in flowing with Jehovah's or, in the God of my understanding or anything along those lines. I was that guy, there is no God, you know what I mean? And as a kid, I think we went to church one time on Easter with my grandma and grandpa, and I embarrassed the hell out of them. I remember I was wearing sweats with some bright ass yellow shorts over them and a bright ass yellow shirt. It just looked hideous, bro. And like this is my first cha-cha at church. You know what I mean? And I just remember looking at all these people with spite, bro. And I hadn't even been to prison yet. You know what I mean? I just looked at them like none of these people understand me. You know what I mean? And I just I got sent to a Christian home, foster care, and that didn't end well for me, So I don't know if I had mentioned in the first episode, the way I started on drugs was, we started drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, Mickey's Big Mouth. We throw them in the bottom of at the marina and dive for our beers and, drink whatever. It was all fun and dandy then, smoke a little of that $3 bag for $10, 3-finger bag for $10-20. And, that was about the extent of my drug use, for a long time. And my stepfather, rest in hell, he came in from work. We lived in Bullhead City, Arizona, and he worked at the electrical thing, the place to work in that side of the river, you know what I mean, where they make electricity through the towers, or Boilermaker is what he was, or something like that. Yeah. So this fool's shooting dope all the time, steady, you know what I mean? But I don't know, you know what I mean? I just know he's a fucking weirdo, you know what I mean? And I don't like him. And he's always beating my ass, so I'm always avoiding home, you know what I mean? I was just a latchkey kid with a key, you know what I mean? Basically. So I was at home one day, and me and my partner were in my room smoking a doobie and, yucking it up, laughing, listening. I remember Ozzy Bark at the Moon was out, and, that's what we were bumping, and I was like, yeah, life's good right now, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, bro, it was like straight out of a horror movie, you know what I mean? That fucking door opened. Excuse my language. I'm going to try and watch the cussing because I did that on my own. But sometimes my mind goes wherever I'm at. Yeah. That door open, man, you know what I mean? And the look of hate, disgust, everything was on this dude's face, you know what I mean? I gather I look like my dad, let's just say that, you know what I mean? And my dad whooped his ass plenty of times. So, you know what I mean? They didn't really get along. So therefore I took the brunt of that. 2:00 in the morning, wake ups for get my ass beat for not taking out the trash. Sometimes I wouldn't take out the trash just to get up to get beat. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't shit no more, bud. You know what I mean? And my partner seen him, and Jeff knew what a monster he could be, and he jumps out the window and jumps the fence. You know what I mean? He's gone. And I was just sitting there. I looked at him. I just laughed. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Only, challenging him, basically. You know what I mean? And I'm just a little chubby kid with long hair, and he commenced to beating the bark off me, grabbed me by my hair, dragged me down the hall. We were in a double-wide mobile home, Bullhead City, Arizona, and takes me to the bathroom, and he sets up a spoon of Coke. And this is that good ether-based yum stuff back in the day. I don't know if any of you guys remember it, but you know, and he goes, "You want to fucking do drugs? Here, I'll let you do drugs." And he pulls my arm out and he hits me with, I don't know how much, probably a nickel, a dime, or I don't know what it was, bro. And when he pulled the needle out, I just remember looking and seeing that drop of blood coming. I went, and I didn't feel nothing yet. Get it? So, and he just looked at me and sort of like in shock and all, like, what the fuck did I just do? Why is he tripping? You know what I mean? And by the time I got about halfway down the hall to where our bathroom was, here comes this whoa, whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? That cocaine ring, right? I remember I stuck my foot in the toilet. I'm flushing the toilet, turning on the shower, just hearing all the whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? And it probably didn't last that long, bro. But my life was never, ever, ever the same from that moment on. You know? I mean, talking murder, mayhem, and everything from that moment on, man. At 13 years old, and you know, I never had that dude that I liked him. I never told him I loved him, and I never told him nothing. But that day, I told him I loved him. You know, I had found a fix between he and I. You know what I mean? He's no longer going to beat me. So, and he never, you know what I mean, really never did after that. So, from there, I did what we do. You know what I mean? I did what we do, man. I'm kicking in doors because it's Bullhead City, Arizona. It's half California owned, half, you know what I mean? Robbing garages for freezers to eat, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, like, that's just doing the hustle, man. My first armed robbery was at 13. Things got really bad. Let's just say that, bro. So things are getting really bad around the pad. Homeboy realizes he fucked up and created a monster. So this is what happens. They tell me, we're going to visit your grandma and grandpa, right? So they leave the house, man, like pretty much completely, like they went for like they were going for a week. They took enough shit for like a week, right? But they never fucking came back, you know? And I mean, they did. My mom came back like 3 months later, 4 months later with a U-Haul to get what was left of the house. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you this. I guess I was probably the first to shoot dope in my neighborhood. And, you know, that's not true. My partner, James Reith, rest in paradise, brother. He was one of the first. And I was like, nah, man, that ain't my stilo. You know what I mean? I just like smoking grass and bumping tunes and whatever. You know what I mean? Like trying to get me a little chubby girl or something. And that was my get down. You know what I mean? Until that day. So from then on, it was, you know, everything from armed robberies to. So like I was with this other cat. We were at the casinos, and he comes up with the idea of snatching purses. You know what I mean? Like watch the winners. You know, because we're kids, we cruise around, watch the winners, and when they walk out and just snatch their purse and shit. And I'm like, bro, do I look like I'm a fucking runner? You know what I mean? Like, I'm too chubby to be running, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and he did, bro. He snatched this lady's purse, and she didn't want to give up her purse. And I played blockage, basically. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't let nobody get to him. Like, I'd be like, hey, dude, what are you doing? Like, I was going after him myself, and then I'd tackle the other guy that was going after him or whatever. You know what I mean? And that was my get down. But he broke this lady's arm. You know what I mean? And got sick to my stomach, bro. You know what I mean? I was totally sick to my stomach at this. I'm like, this is never me again. This will never be me again. I'll never snatch a purse again. And so so anyway, that was the start of it, right? Now I hadn't shot heroin or anything along those lines. I was doing meth and all that stuff. And parents are gone, have a double wide mobile home to myself. You know, what goes, water and power goes. You know what I mean? So we throw parties at my pad. It was like free to come in, but it cost you 10 or 20 bucks to leave. I guarantee you that. You know what I mean? Because you're buying something from us. And, that, you know, we sort of kept things up like that. Not with the bank, but with power and shit like that, you know? So finally, they cut the power. you know, and we had just gone and made a trip to Phoenix. And we're talking 14-year-old kids, you know what I mean? We made a trip to Phoenix, and we're dealing with men like you know what I mean? Bearded men, big old rugged looking, you know, like, and you know, they seen something in our eyes that said, hey, don't fuck with these kids. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, these are down, whatever. Some things that happened, I don't want to glorify the horror, but you know what I mean? Some things that happened where they were like, nah, they're with the business, man, you know? And
Yeah, you meant business.
so we went and bought a bunch of mushrooms and went back to the thing. But my thing was shooting coke. I love shooting coke. You know what I mean? I love that, you know, and anyway.
That's probably the drug I ever did. I mean, heroin is what I was addicted to, but like,
Right.
Like, I ever got was when I would shoot coke.
For sure.
And I think it's what brought me out one time, because one time when I got sober in 2013, I had this reservation where I'd heard about it, but I was like, I've still never shot coke, you know, and like I had it in the back of my mind, and I literally like knew I was going to go out again just to freaking do that. And I
What
stayed
year?
sober a year and then went out and did it.
What year?
Like probably 2013.
Yeah, you still never have shot coke. You know what I mean? You don't know what coke is, man. That ether-based shit was magical, bro. You know what I mean? I know what they call now coke, but it's nothing like it used to be, man. Once they took the ether out of it, there was no more cocaine. You know what I mean? I was done with that shit. So I had to find it.
80s, basically. Like,
What's
you're
that?
talking 80s? You're saying
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the 80s?
Yeah, for
The
sure.
quality of
Yeah.
most stuff has gone down except for weed. Weed goes
Yeah.
up and the quality of the other drugs.
Right,
But it's all proportional. I mean, still, you shooting coke probably felt as good to you as it did to you.
When I got
You know
good
what I mean?
coke.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you're
Oh,
not.
no, yeah, I was just toying with him, bro, saying you still haven't shot coke because, like, there's no real good coke out there anymore. I was just toying
No,
with
of course. Well, no, but I was saying what's interesting is you last episode you brought up ludes, like quaaludes. You know what I mean? And like nobody these days knows even what those are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Lemon.
Like people can't even find those anymore. You know, now it's
Lemon
like Xanax and things like that, but those aren't ludes. You know what I mean? Like that's a totally different ballgame that I don't think we've ever heard of on this show. Really, the ludes. If you want to get into those at all, that'd be interesting too.
Well, that's what came next, basically. That's really what came next was, you know, the grandparents' medicine cabinets, you know what I mean? Like, so most grandparents back then, they would eat one or two of their Vicodins or their they didn't have oxys then, they had so basically back then, bro, you had reds and whites and, you know what I mean, like shit like that going around mostly. And there, you didn't hear so much about tar heroin, or you had crystal meth, which was called crank at the time. There was no crystal meth. You know what I mean? It was crank. And you had biker crank, you had peanut butter crank, you had bathtub crank. You know what I mean? And you throw a little taste of coke in there just to get the roo, but then you had the Zukin for days. You know what I mean? So I like to think that people can't tell that I have an 8th grade education, but that's pretty much where school ended for me. You know, I probably read a library worth of books. You know, I had to do. Pretty much self-educated for the most part. You know, like even reading, I would have to word shit out, and you know, I mean, just try and figure out what the word meant by where it was at in the sentence. You know what I mean? Like, and I found that out when I hit Tracy, you know, like I think I had like a 3rd grade education or something, according to them. I'm like, nah, bullshit, I got an 8th grade education, you know, like, you know.
Right.
Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Hell no. You know? So,
So how many years do you have sober?
I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. I got today. I know that much. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave it at that. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've done that too many times to where I start counting years and getting like this. Okay.
Right.
And next thing you know, I'm in a detox somewhere. So
Yeah.
I like to stick with today. I do have a clean date. My sponsor likes us to brag about it. You know what I mean? I'm like, every time I brag about it, I lose it, bro. I'm hiding this. This is mine. You know what I mean?
Like that.
I got today and I got yesterday.
Way with mine too. I don't like to tell people mine. I think a lot of people expect me to have more time than I have because I started this program and stuff.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so well, anyway, this is coming in, and it'll all play out in the story right now. So then next came Ludes, school, wrecking shit at school. I became the drug dealer to my math teacher, my physical fitness teacher, and my history teacher. You know what I mean? So yeah, right. So and it was like we still got SWATs back then. You know, like where you got swatted with a SWAT. You know, got your ass
beat in class.
So Mr. Banks, he was our PE teacher, and he was like 8'8" as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean? That dude gave me a SWAT that lifted me off the ground one time. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, I seen you smoking fucking weed in the car, man. You know what I mean? Like, you want a deal? I'm the guy to talk to. You ever hit me again like that? You know what I mean? I'm going to tell on you, all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know nothing about not telling back then, but so we ironed shit out because that dude, he hurt me, man, with that one SWAT. I was ready to mind anybody at that point, but I ironed that out. You know what I mean? Like, I ironed out all kinds of things out, and I hope you're not offended because I didn't want to put a date out there, bro. Like people,
like you said, that's his same exact. I'm the same way.
You know, I cherish this. Let's say I put a few days together, though. We'll say that. You know what I mean? Enough to know that I need to give back in order to keep what I have. You know what I mean? That much I do know. So, where am I at in the story? Okay, high school. So junior high.
Playing into the math teacher, and you're playing into the
junior high. You know, we're taking care of all this, and you know, why should I go to fucking school? My parents haven't been here in 3 months. You know what I mean? Like any food that we get, we're going out and pillaging at night. It was just like true Vikings going out, kicking in garages. Now, mind you, this is a small town at the time. You know, people left their keys in their car. They never locked their doors. We never locked our door. We leave our door open and leave. And I mean, people left their keys in their cars. We'd steal their car all night, put gas in it, and leave it back in the driveway in the morning. You know what I mean? Like all over town, bro. It's just how it was, you know? And we literally did that. We'd take people's cars. We'd even put gas back in it and leave the ride there so we could get it. You know, that's how it was. And a life-changing experience that happened for me there was I had eaten a bunch of mushrooms. And they weren't mushrooms and meat. We don't agree with each other. You know what I mean? On top of shooting coke and meth for days. You know what I mean? For like, because back then you'd stay up for a straight week. You know what I mean? For sure. You know, it was none of this. I caught 20 minutes here. It was straight zooking the whole time, and it was horrible. In the beginning, it was fun. You play cards, whatever card game you're playing. You know what I mean? Like it was fun, right? Tweak on your bike, tweak on the neighbor's bike, go get a couple of bikes, whatever. You know, like it was what you did. So I ate these mushrooms, man, and I ended up, I was tripping so hard. I went to the neighbors and I knocked on a door. And I'm like, hey, man, could you take me to the hospital? You know, and he's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm just like, man, I'm really sick. Could you just take me? And I'm throwing up. You know, I mean, I'm really sick, bro. And so we're in the car. He's a nice older Polish dude. You know what I mean? When I say older, I'm not talking like 40, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm just a pup at the time. So, and I swear he's screaming at me the whole time. He's never looking forward. We're doing like 110 miles an hour to the hospital and he's screaming at me. And then I'd open my eyes and we're doing like 35 and he's just driving, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my God, man, this is horrible. You know? So I tried to close my eyes too much, right? So I go in there and I go into the nurse on Mojave Street. There's a first care type thing, right? So I go in there and I'm like, I need to see the doctor. And they're like, what's wrong? I go, I ate some mushrooms. And she goes, okay. And I'm like, fucking, I ate some mushrooms, man. Like I'm expecting her to get what I'm saying, but she's not putting together what I'm saying. She goes, on a pizza, on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, it's soup.
Are you allergic to them? I go, these ones I must be, you know what I mean? Like, so, but anyway, I'm tripping in there, right? And I'm on a gurney They finally got what I said. I'm like, fucking, there's colors and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, oh, all right. So they take me in this room, and it's a reddish room, like a mauve room, and I start getting agitated, because of the color. And I think that my homeboy's underneath the bunk, and he's fucking with his dog. I hate when he messes with his dog because his dog, and every time I open my eyes, he's not under the bunk and the dog's not there. Every time I close my eyes, I'm hearing all this shit, and it's going down for real. So, and I'm blowing chunks everywhere. I'm not even trying to hit a ball. I'm just throwing up, clean it up. You know what I mean? So they start moving me to different rooms. And they took me into this, like, a powder blue room, and I was real chill there. So they're like, all right, let's leave me here. You know what I mean? Finally. So I'm laying there, and it's the only black cop in town comes in. He weighs like 350 pounds. There's no way he could have caught me on the streets if he wanted to. And he's all, Badger. Badger. I keep, what? He's a Badger. Finally, I just shut up, and he goes, Badger. And I go, what, man? So I don't know if I was answering or not throughout all that, but in my head I was. And he goes, your friends are dead, and you're gonna die. Where'd you get the mushrooms? And I go, now, mind you, bro, they've been filling me up with this charcoal shit. So it's like charcoal, right? Charcoal, seaweed stuff. It's like seaweed. All this shit to clear your stomach, right? Or whatever. Bro, it was straight out of Amityville Horror, man. It's just sprayed all over him. That was my answer to him. You know what I mean? So he got out of there.
So wait, was it a trip what you heard him say? Like when he said your friends are dead? Like
I believe that, bro.
Or were you just hearing that?
I believed him. Yeah, I believe that. You know what I mean? He's all, your friends are dead. You're gonna die. Where'd you get the mushrooms? Like he's trying to get this out of me, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like,
and then he caught a face full.
He caught a face. I think he got some mouth, bro. I don't remember the whole thing, but it was disgusting, right? So,
Dark.
You know what I mean? I'm 14 years old. What are they gonna do? Take me to jail? You know what I mean? Like, right? So, anyway, I start, between all that shit that I ate and drank and all that, I start chilling out a little bit. I'm still trailing for days or whatever. And so I'm like, I got to get out of here. You know what I mean? Because he's up there cleaning off his shirt and getting ready to do paperwork and probably take me to the halls. You know what I mean? Take me up to Kingman, Arizona Youth Authority. That's where their juvenile hall was, right? I ain't trying to be there, man. I ain't trying to be there at all. So I skirt. Alarms going off. And, you know what I mean? I take off out the back door. I'm out of there, right? I see my crew. You know what I mean? I see like 15 dudes that, crash at the pad I see them all just out tripping, walking around. I'm like, hey, I thought you guys were dead. I run up, and so we could laugh about it today, bro, but let me assure you, there was nothing funny about it at the time. You know what I mean? There was absolutely nothing funny about it.